Prophecy. You had to have that God, you know what a power surge is? Like these outlets down here in this room, these outlets come out at 220, but the power hits our building at about, probably 100,000 volts. And then it hits a distributor to the 220s. And it hits this region of the Jewish quarter in the old city at, maybe 1,000,000 volts. And then breaks up to the different buildings and stuff, etc., all the way up till the power plant, which is pumping out, millions and millions of volts to Jerusalem. A power surge is when one of those circuit breakers, that one of those transformers doesn't do its job. It failed, and it sent down a much bigger amount of energy than the next transformer could handle, and it blew, went to the next one, blew until, you see smoke coming out of here, and all these lights just go like, poof, and like explode. But, today, our generation, they have surge protectors, and so it takes care of that. Now, so if there was a power surge, we'd have a surge protector, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, I'm not taking a question right now. I'm in the middle of explaining something. So, prophecy is when God messes with the surge protectors, because we're ultimately just the experience of God's consciousness. We are, and again, I'm going with Judaism. We are some kind of an expression of God's will and wisdom from infinite into this finite world. All simulated, by the way. Judaism does not believe the world's real at all. Why do you think we cover our eyes when we say Shema? We don't want to see a lie. We're saying the truth. Like now we're saying the truth. We don't want to stare at matter, because we know that this matter is made of vibration. It's a simulation. We know this. And so we don't want to stare at it when we're talking about the oneness, because think about, let's say a vibration of A is 440 oscillations per second. The sound A, 440. And we're now saying God is one. That's all he is one. Well, guess what 440 is? It's 440 ones. Every frequency. Every frequency is made. He is the number one within all things. He is, it's all of some derivative of that oneness, of that vibration. And so prophecy is the only way that God can deliver messages to us. Now, question. Has there ever been a tradition out there, all those God believers out there, that wound up, causing most of the death and destruction of, at least till this century? This century, secularism created death and destruction, but all the other centuries where deisms created all the death and destruction. Any of them ever claim prophecy? Any claim of prophecy? I'm not talking about the poetic, like a great teacher is a prophet. I don't mean like that. Any of them ever have a prophet? Prophecy. Now, I don't want to start mentioning religions, but I'm not going to say them by name, but there's no prophets there. There might have been leaders, teachers, wrote books. No prophets. No prophets. Out comes the enforcement. Now comes the enforcement. Now comes the power and the misuse of power. And I tell you, I want to puke every time I hear a debate online between an atheist like Sam Harris and a believer like anyone. any of the believers that debate these guys, that debate is the believer has no concept, or too much concept, of God. And had it been someone who's actually debating them, who's versed in Kabbalah, there would be no arguments. But as far as God's will is concerned, that is either there's prophecy or we have no idea. Now think about the alternative. Either there's prophecy or we have no idea. Tell me, what does no idea look like? If we have no idea what God wants, like, okay, fine, there's a God. What does he want? What does he want? What's the world going to look like? Well, it'll probably look like all those religions in the end. People will just start making up what God's will is. It creates a great power base. Tell me, how are the Jews at creating a power base? How are Jews at creating power? How's horrible? I mean, you guys tell me. Today's rabbis, the top rabbis of our generation, the ones who know the most Torah, tell me, if they had a particular law that they were going to teach that was going to send half the Jewish people running for their lives, like, no, I'm out, man. But it's an actual Torah law. It's part of the prophecy from Sinai. Would they withhold that law to keep the Jews under their spell? Or would they keep teaching the law that would send those Jews packing? Which one?
I mean, they'd probably speak with the prophecies.
Yeah, they would just teach it. They would teach it. Yeah, and that night go to a banquet on Jewish continuity. And you'd want to like wring his neck. You're like, you're sending all the Jews running for their lives with your laws. Do you know what generation this is? Just keep it to yourself, Rabbi. And then there's money. Judaism commands every person gives 10% of their income. To whom? Answer? Whoever you want. Whoever you want. You can have homeless people. You can have soup kitchens. There's no body. There's no central body here. No power. Zero power here. Zero power. There's some corruption, but if it's corruption, it's just some individual who's like, you know, God knows what he's doing, but it's probably just something stupid, and he's probably just paying his own bills, cutting corners and stuff, and who knows what he's up to, but certainly not creating a greater power base for the rabbinic leadership. What's that? Doesn't exist. So you understand, we don't have anything to do with any of their complaints. Shalom, if you enjoyed watching this, well, watch some more, send it, click it, forward it, join it, subscribe to it. You know, keep coming on and joining me in this amazing movement to make a big difference in the world. And the biggest thing you can do of all is to join the YomTovMediaClub.com. Please go online, YomTovMediaClub.com.